Good morning, everyone. We're happy to be here talking to you and being with you. We've been through a very difficult period with Aaron's death and funeral, and although it was wonderful to see so many people. We're going to go on with the program today, and Mrs. Caswell has some things to say, and I'll start by saying the Lord's Prayer, and then we'll sing a song. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. I'll sing the song. O Master, let me walk with thee in lowly paths of service free. Tell me thy secret, help me bear the strain of toil, the fret of care. Help me the slow of heart to move by some clear winning word of love. Teach me the wayward feet to stay and guide them in the homeless homeward way. Teach me thy patience still with thee, in closer, dearer company, in work that keeps faith sweet and strong, in trust that triumphs over wrong, in hope that sends a shining ray far down the future's broadening way, in peace that only thou canst give. With thee, O Master, let me live. Okay, I'm going to let Mrs. Caswell say more at this point.
Thank you. This is an issue that's been with me and others. I first heard about it in Pipikishi's Reserve when I was 18 years old. And Gloria Dieter, a lifetime friend, told me that when an Indian kills an Indian, the police just dismiss it, and they don't bother to do anything, and they just say it's irrelevant. And then I've heard the same thing many times from many people. In the North, I thought it was pandemic, of the situation, that there were no convictions, that there's no crime or punishment, there is no due process. And the worst situation I have encountered, I thought, was when there was a fellow who continually beat up his father whenever he got drunk, and his father got these beatings. One of these beatings resulted in the death of his father. The fellow served a few years in jail, and then it was deduced, well, this fellow didn't die. This father didn't die from the beatings. He only died from a heart attack. And so the man was dismissed from jail, and nothing else was done. I thought that was the most absurd casual, I can't think of the words, the most cynical situation that a man is beaten by his father, and the case is dismissed because it was claimed that the fellow died of a heart attack. Now that's undeniably true, because of course continual beatings are very bad for people, and they can cause heart attacks and so on. And I thought, well, at least that would never happen down south. Recently, on January 15th, our son, Aaron Caswell, died from beatings. But I just recently learned that it is being dismissed because he had heart attacks, 2 heart attacks, and not because of all the beatings, but because of the heart attacks. I thought, I never thought I would encounter this situation down south, but the long-standing tradition that you dismiss murders if they were committed in a situation where the people don't seem to have much social value. They don't seem to have much contribution. So we just say, well, it was caused by a heart attack. Our son went to St. Paul's Hospital with crushed testicles from being kicked. This is how the nurse described it to me. A nurse in St. Paul's Hospital who's well experienced in with the beatings. He had been kicked in the kidneys. He had been, his one eye was swollen and closed. It was definitely black. His I can't even remember all the things hit, and so anyway, so we were to believe that Aaron died because a heart attack, which is, well, undeniably true, but that he always also kicked himself in the kidneys. He also kicked himself in the testicle. He also kicked himself in the eye and had a swollen head from these beatings. Nothing was wrong, according to the coroner's report, and we understand according to the sergeant's report. We, of course, that made logically, well, we knew that he had died of a heart attack, but to dismiss all these beatings as just irrelevant is absurd. This Aaron had sent us a message and a picture of himself beaten, and he said, Alan Campeau laid a beating on me. And he sent us a picture of his face. Now this was some months ago. He did not die at that time, but there are no charges being laid because he died of a heart attack. And this is a scenario that I thought would never happen down south. I thought this was so absurd and is such a a crass dismissal of the brutality of connected to alcoholism and a certain rough area, not rough situation where drugs and alcohol are involved. But so I'm going to be doing this as a series of talking about of this so-called dismissal of violence amongst Native people. And it has been going on. Well, I knew about it since I was 18. And I've seen it over and over again in the North. There is professional cover-ups and I'm afraid that the police don't really care or don't see it's official that if sorry, I'm not doing very well. Some violence is just dismissed as the fellow was an alcoholic, or the fellow didn't have much value. Maybe he was old, and so on. And I'm doing this series so that to give evidence and to explain the many, many times that violence amongst a group of people is dismissed, and they do not go on the radar of crime and punishment, of due process meaning when things are brought to court, evidence is given, and then the series is dismissed. A series continues until a verdict is reached, having both sides presented. That is the traditional. What we call due process. It is fast disappearing, and our court system is losing its purpose. So this will be all today, and we will be talking about this for several weeks. In the meantime, in the very same house, there was a lady whose son was murdered. And the word murdered comes so readily, yet there is nothing in the papers. It's not made a social issue. And so that is going to be my goal for some time. That will be all today.
Thank you. We'll be back.